because I
Okay.
want to get through the other issues. This to me is the preamble.
Okay.
So for me, the budget issue is if I think solved, though you could give us more color and detail about how solved it is. I want to talk about whether the Coastal Act nor the regulations have a clause in it for the cancellation of meetings. I believe whether we have a budget or not now, and whether we could afford to have the June meeting or not, the Coastal Act, if the rest of the commissioners might have been familiar, I was not. Section 30315 says about meetings, the commission shall, not maybe, but shall meet at least once a month at a place convenient to the public. All meetings of the commission shall be open to the public. Now, the letter canceling our meeting came from the executive director without a vote and without reminding all of us of our obligation to hold these meetings under the Coastal Act. Now, this was troubling to me because I just kind of believe a cancellation of the meeting of the commissioners should have been voted on by the commissioners. I believe the executive director, which I don't think is under debate, works for us. But having our director rather than our chairman announce this cancellation diminishes all our authority. And Section 13032 of the Coastal Regs makes clear these actions are subject to approval by the commissioners. I believe upholding the Act requires us, it's not an option, it's not the first thing we toss out when our budget gets tough, requires us to have public meetings to serve applicants. Perhaps I was the only one who didn't know when we were discussing our budget shortfall of this Coastal Act obligation. I reviewed all the videos of the staff's comments in the last couple of months about budgets, and never once did our obligation under the Coastal Act come up. I understand the shortfall of the budget, and it was real, and it was important, but equally for commissioners, our obligation to hold these public meetings. I'm going to propose a set of motions that I'd like to put on the agenda and toss out to my fellow commissioners. And I'd like them to do a couple things. I want to make sure there's no confusion in the future about whose meetings these are and who has the authority to cancel and schedule the meetings. I want to help all the commissioners better understand the detailed financial problems that we may or may not have, and to help the public better understand the detailed financial issues for these commissions. And so I'm going to throw these out and we'll see what happens. First, I want to move that the commission rescind.
Commissioner,
Yes.
this is commissioner reports. I think you need to agendize.
Yes.
These
so I'd like to
discussions for a
agendize.
future agenda. And let me just state something before you get going too much more.
I'm almost done.
Okay. But I want to state that we did talk about this subject last month. And all the commissioners were present, and the only one I recall saying anything when we talked about Director Douglas that there might have to cancel the meeting because of the budget shortfall was Commissioner Riley, who said, you better let me know when. He raised the issue. So I understand your point, and we can agendize in a future thing, but Director Douglas did call me and tell me that he was going to send this out, and with all due respect to him, he did check with me. I take that responsibility. I thought all the commissioners were, we discussed this, and maybe we all didn't, you know, this issue you say is required, and we all understand the due process and everything else. But we had a real budget problem. We still have a budget problem, and we were doing the best that we can do. And so we can agendize and be happy to debate, and, you know, the commissioners can weigh in on this. But I think it's maybe not the right place at the commissioner reports to make a set of whole new motions. We should do it properly, and if you want to do it.
Mr. Chair, even though we can't vote on motions today, I'd be interested in hearing the nature of what those might be.
That's fine. You can finish that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Riley.
Point of order. Since when do any motion, I can understand where it's a change or has to do with a permit or has to do, but this is policy he's talking about. Since when do you have to announce, agendize? What is the policy that you have to agendize a motion to change policy? Where's that found at?
Well, I think it's a voting action, I think.
So,
Well,
Mr. Chair, let
somebody
me
show it to me if it's
let me
real.
just ask,
Just show it to me.
because we have counsel here, let me just ask counsel, under section 30333 and 30333.1, rules and regulations and review of regulations, it allows the commissioners to actually vote on and set up their own policies and procedures. And this is policy and procedure I'm making motions for, not anything about a item in front of the commission. Well, I understand you have to agendize issues in front of the commission. These are the commissioner's own internal rules and regulations, and I believe those are covered under 30333, and I'd appreciate an opinion.
Yes, I believe that they would be covered. They still must be noticed and agendized. They're still subject to the Open Meeting Act. And
Even
so,
our own internal policies?
yes, we
Great.
would still, before the commission takes an action in a public meeting. it
Great.
needs
Then
to
I
be-
will frame them as something I will ask my fellow commissioners permission, and maybe we could vote on whether anybody else is interested in putting them on a future agenda. Is that okay, Mr. Chairman?
Well, we can, that's fine, Commissioner
Great.
Blank. I don't mind putting them on if you're just interested and you're
Great.
the only one.
Great.
That's not a problem that
Great.
we have to vote, you know. If you're, one commissioner, if you're interested, we're happy to.
I'm very interested. And so let me just tell you the form and the areas that I was interested in. First, and though I don't believe with this budget resolution there'll be any objection, the first one was that the commission itself rescind the executive director's cancellation of the June meeting, and that we reinstate that meeting with public notice. Second, I move that if any meeting of the commissioners in the future needs to be canceled, it be voted on by the commission and the full body of commissioners and noticed by the chairman of the commission in the future. Third is I move that the budget committee and staff, since we already have an active committee, present the commission's budget to the commission as a whole at least once a year. I believe I heard this budget issue piecemeal. I believe it was real. I know the staff was working hard on it, but this is the only commission or organization I've ever sat on where budgets are opaque. And I think as a public agency, we need a little more. I had no idea we were in the hole for $500,000, and I don't know how many of our fellow commissioners knew that was the number either. And then fourth, I move the staff distribute and discuss the budget at the next hearing possible. And so those are the things I'd like to talk about. I don't think they're particularly onerous. I think they're about the business of the commission. I hope staff doesn't take it as a reflection on their skill or quality, but this was to me was a cry for help for the budget. And the first action that was taken that the public saw was to eliminate their access to the commission for 1/12 of the year. And I just felt that was the wrong approach. And I think